Yesterday, the world thought it had seen a breakthrough. While New York slept and London sipped its morning coffee, the price of silver surged to new heights, sending waves of excitement across the globe. It felt like a revolution, like the old financial titans had finally cracked under pressure. Messages flew, claiming the grip of manipulation had loosened and silver was finally free. But today, that excitement turned into an eerie stillness, more chilling than any crash. The phone lines to brokers, wholesalers, and refineries went dead silent. The spot price just sat there, stuck at $64 an ounce, refusing to move, daring anyone to challenge it. On paper, the numbers were astronomical, but they were meaningless. The moment anyone tried to trade those numbers for actual metal, they hit a wall. Wholesalers across North America, refineries in Switzerland, mints in Australia, all unreachable. Every call ended in a silent dial tone or an automated message. But due to extreme market volatility, we have halted all new orders. This isn't just a market hiccup. It's the paper system hitting its absolute limit. At $64, the issue isn't a lack of inventory, it's a complete collapse of liquidity. The supply chain, strained for years, didn't just slow down, it snapped. Refineries stopped production. Wholesalers canceled trades that were already finalized. Even the US Mint went into indefinite allocations with no timeline and no explanation. The reason is simple and terrifying. The market moved too fast. Economics 101 says higher prices bring more supply, but silver is never played by the book. It's a maze of leverage, hedges, and promises built on shaky ground. At $64, the very mechanism that keeps the refining world afloat became a trap. This is the refiner's trap. Refineries buy raw ore, process it, and hedge against price drops by shorting paper contracts. This system only works if prices move slowly. A rapid jump like we just saw turns that safety net into a death trap. When silver leaped to 64, the margin calls were astronomical. Physical silver was tied up in furnaces, but the exchanges demanded immediate cash. No refinery could pay, so production froze. And when refineries halt, wholesalers are next. They rely on that steady flow of silver for everything from solar panels to electronics. Minting facilities were left holding orders for hundreds of thousands of ounces with nothing to fill them. The whole just-in-time supply chain collapsed backward. Those pre-order systems on websites, they weren't guarantees, they were unsecured promises. The gap between paper promises and physical metal has become a chasm. Meanwhile, industrial giants like Tesla, Samsung, and First Solar are bypassing the retail chaos. They're forced to pay massive premiums because, for them, silver isn't a speculative toy. It's a vital necessity. Every ounce they acquire is permanently embedded into the technology that powers our modern world. It's not coming back to the market. So retail buyers like us are now competing against industrial titans for a shrinking pool of metal. Then there's the legal escape hatch, force majeure clauses. In times of extreme volatility, these contracts allow dealers, banks, and exchanges to just give you cash instead of metal. They can legally walk away from their obligation to deliver. This means paper investors could be left holding contracts worth far less than the real-world value of physical silver. The old saying, if you don't hold it, you don't own it, has never been more true. Let's look at history for a moment. Back in May 2011, silver spiked toward $50 an ounce. The CME exchange raised margin requirements multiple times in 1 week. They crushed anyone with leverage and forced a 30% price collapse. It was a brutal takedown. Well, just yesterday, they tried the same trick. We call it a margin nuke. The CME jacked up margin requirements for silver futures by 50% overnight. Hedge funds with leveraged positions were forced to either sell their contracts or come up with impossible amounts of cash. The goal was to create panic, a massive sell-off, and repeat the 2011 playbook. But this time, something was different. Unlike 2011, today's big buyers aren't just speculators on margin. They're industrial users and sovereign nations paying full cash for delivery. Tesla doesn't hold silver on margin. The Indian government doesn't bet on paper contracts. These buyers absorbed the shock of the margin hike without even flinching. The market dipped for a second, then held its ground. The margin nuke didn't destroy the rally. All it did was expose the weak hands and prove the real power of the physical market. This setup is a classic bear trap. Retail traders, seeing that red candle and remembering 2011, might panic and sell. But their contracts are being scooped up by industrial giants and governments who know the underlying scarcity is real. Every dip just strengthens the position of these long-term holders. The weak leveraged paper traders are getting wiped out, leaving the true owners in control. And the weekend makes things even riskier for the manipulators. When our markets close on Friday, Asian markets open. Any attempt to suppress the price here just creates a massive buying signal for China and India. Selling into a Friday pullback is like selling at a manipulated discount right before the real market wakes up. Shadow order books show us why these dips are being absorbed so quickly. Corporations and industrial buyers have standing orders that automatically execute when silver drops below certain levels. A dip to $64 could trigger instant purchases of millions of ounces. This is the complete opposite of the paper market, which is leveraged, temporary, and manipulated. The physical demand is relentless. If margin hikes fail, what's next? The regulators have two more cards to play: position limits or liquidation-only modes. Position limits would force large holders to sell, creating artificial downward pressure. Liquidation-only mode would stop all buying. In either case, the paper price of silver might collapse, but the demand for physical silver would only get stronger. The more they try to suppress the paper price, the faster the physical market gets drained. The divergence between the paper price and the physical price will accelerate. We could see paper trading at $40 while real physical silver trades at $90. The Western exchanges would become irrelevant. The world market would move on without them. Those holding real metal will be insulated from the paper chaos, while speculators remain trapped in a failing system. The events of the last 24 hours prove it. The system is detaching from reality. Geology, industrial demand, and financial instability are what define the market now. Holding silver isn't just about profit, it's about preservation. Paper contracts are just claims on insolvent banks. Physical silver is a claim on a finite essential resource. The margin nuke was a test of your conviction. Did you panic, or did you recognize a discount on real wealth? This coming Monday could be explosive. The shorts who are trapped below $64 are incredibly vulnerable. News of the refinery halts and shortages will spread all weekend, and that could trigger panic buying when the markets reopen. The physical market is coiled like a spring, ready to push prices much higher. I'm expecting a gap up, maybe to $65 or $66, forcing those shorts to cover and sending the price flying. Today's bear trap was just the setup for the next leg of this rally. The takeaway is clear: the physical market is in control. The old manipulative paper tactics are losing their power. Scarcity is the new rule. Whoever holds the metal holds the power. 1 ounce of silver today is worth more than it was yesterday, and that truth doesn't depend on a computer screen, an exchange, or a margin requirement. The game has changed. The old rules are gone. The scarcity of real silver is what determines its value now, and those who own it are the ones setting the terms. So stay calm and stay stacked. Prepare for the next chapter. Ignore the paper noise, the red candles, and the margin nuke panic. The floor is solid. Physical ownership is your security. The industrial demand is unstoppable. The banks can try to fight it, but they are no longer in control. This is your edge. You are holding something that can't be printed, can't be fabricated, and can't be manipulated out of existence. The future belongs to those who understand the real market, the physical world of scarcity and demand. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates as the story unfolds. We'll be tracking it every step of the way.